You are scrolling maybe this morning, maybe last week, and you see it. A new federal law requires all drivers over 70 to pass an annual road test or lose their license. Your stomach tightens. You think about Tuesday's grocery run, your Thursday appointments, your grandkids on Friday afternoon. Maybe you share it because someone you know needs to see this, because it feels real. Here is what you need to hear right now. That post is completely false. There is no federal law. There never was. And by the time this video ends, you will understand the exact constitutional reason it cannot exist. But stay, because there is something real. Something that could affect your driving privileges before your next renewal that has nothing to do with a road test. And everything to do with a diagnosis your doctor wrote down at your last appointment. In some states, your doctor is legally required to report certain medical conditions directly to the State Department of Motor Vehicles. Legally required, without telling you first. Most drivers who encounter this find out the same way, through a letter. What they do with that letter and how quickly determines what happens to their license, not their driving record. Their response time, 5 things today. Covered out of order, 5. Then 3, then 1, then 4, and saving number 2 for last. Number 2 is the item that caught a 76-year-old woman in Pennsylvania completely off guard. 52 years behind the wheel. Not a single accident. She almost threw the letter away. What was in it? Which states? Send it. And what to do if one arrives? That is what number 2 is about. Hold that thought. Quick context before we go further. This video is made for adults over 65 who currently drive themselves and have a renewal coming up, or who have had a recent health change and are wondering what it means for their license. Everything shared here comes from publicly available official information: the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, the Illinois Secretary of State's Office, the California Department of Motor Vehicles, and AARP, and each source will be named as we go. This is educational content only, not personalized legal or medical advice, and not a prediction of any specific outcome for any individual driver. Every situation is different. The state you live in, your age, your driving record, your health history. Before any major decision, talk to a licensed professional who knows your circumstances. The reason this channel checks the actual source documents is because the people watching this are making real decisions about their independence. If accuracy matters to you, subscribe and turn on the bell. And before we start, drop your state in the comments right now. Then tell me, have you ever received a letter from your state's Department of Motor Vehicles that you were not expecting and did not know how to handle? Because number 2 is exactly why that happens to some drivers. And the people reading those comments are realizing they are not alone. Number 5. The viral post says a new federal law requires all drivers over 70 to take mandatory annual road tests or face automatic license revocation. Here is the constitutional reality. Driver licensing in the United States has always been controlled by individual states under the 10th Amendment, which reserves powers not granted to the federal government, to the states, and to the people. The federal government does not issue driver's licenses. It does not renew them. It does not revoke them. It never has. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety and every state agency asked about these posts have confirmed the same thing: no federal mandate exists. None is planned. And the claims circulating on social media have been fabricated or grossly misrepresented. Anytime you see a post claiming a new federal law is changing driving requirements for seniors by age, by test type, by frequency, ask one question: was it passed by Congress and signed by the President? If the answer is no, it is not federal law. The instinct behind sharing that post was genuine care. The information was wrong. Number 3. The Real ID Act set a compliance deadline of May 7th, 2025 for domestic air travel. That deadline has passed. If you are flying domestically, you need either a compliant license or a valid passport at airport security. Here is the check. Look at your driver's license right now, upper right corner. A gold or black star means you are compliant. 7 states issue an enhanced license instead, which looks different but is equally valid. If you have neither and you fly domestically, even occasionally, the action item is an in-person visit to your state's Department of Motor Vehicles with your Social Security card, proof of residence, and current license. A valid passport also works at security. Pause this and look. Star means you are set. No star means schedule the visit this week. Number 1. In most states, completing an approved mature driver safety course makes you eligible for a reduction on your auto insurance premium. The most widely accepted is the AARP Smart Driver Course Self-Paced, available online. Approximately $25 for AARP members and somewhat more for non-members. The discount, where available, typically runs between 5 and 15% off your premium for 3 years. But here is what almost nobody knows. According to AARP's own program data, roughly 40% of people who complete the course never receive the discount, not because it was denied, but because they did not take one additional step. The insurance company does not apply the discount automatically. You must submit your completion certificate directly to your insurer by uploading it online, mailing a copy, or giving the certificate number to your agent within 90 days of your renewal. Write this down, complete the course. Submit your certificate to your insurer within 90 days. That one step is what 40% of graduates skip. Number 4. The real 2026 changes are happening at the state level, and most are better news than any viral post suggests. In Illinois, the Road Safety and Fairness Act, House Bill 1226, signed by the governor in August of 2025, takes effect July 1st, 2026. Under the previous rule, Illinois required a full behind-the-wheel road test starting at 79, one of the strictest policies in the country. According to AARP, Illinois was the only state mandating a road test based solely on age. Under the new law, drivers between 79 and 86 visit the Department of Motor Vehicles in person and pass a vision test, but no road test. Drivers at 87 and older still take an annual road test. Here is the nuance almost every news outlet missed. House Bill 1226 also lowered the in-person renewal age from 79 down to 75. Drivers who are 75 through 78 who previously could renew online or by mail must now visit a Department of Motor Vehicles facility in person beginning July 1st. If your renewal is coming up this summer and you are in that age range in Illinois, this is new, and it applies to you. In California, the Department of Motor Vehicles confirmed a change. Effective October of 2024, drivers 70 and older with clean driving records no longer need to take a written knowledge test at renewal. An in-person visit and vision exam are still required, but the written exam is gone for most senior drivers. Before number 2, a story. This is an illustrative, composite, realistic, and plausible, built from publicly documented experiences, not drawn from any single individual's record. Dorothy is 76, retired postal worker, Pennsylvania. 52 years of driving. No accidents. No points. At her annual neurology appointment, she mentioned occasionally having difficulty finding the right word in conversation. Her neurologist made a note. What Dorothy did not know is that Pennsylvania is one of the states with a mandatory physician reporting requirement. Several weeks later, a letter arrived from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. Dorothy almost threw it away. She thought it was junk mail. A mistake. A scam. She had never authorized anyone to contact a government agency about her health, and she assumed federal health privacy law protected her records from this kind of contact. She left the letter on the kitchen table for 3 weeks. Her daughter called on a Thursday. Dorothy mentioned the letter almost as an afterthought. Her daughter read it over the phone. The letter asked Dorothy to complete a medical evaluation form within 30 days. 3 weeks had already passed. They gathered the paperwork in 4 days. Dorothy submitted within the deadline by 2 days. She passed the evaluation, and she is still driving. If she had thrown the letter away, if the 30-day window had closed, suspension would have been the automatic outcome. Not because her driving was unsafe. Because a form was not returned. Number 2, in at least 5 states: California, Nevada, New Jersey, Oregon, and Pennsylvania, physicians are legally required to report certain medical conditions to the State Department of Motor Vehicles or equivalent agency. Legally required. The conditions that trigger mandatory reporting vary by state, but generally include dementia, certain forms of epilepsy or seizure disorders, and other conditions that may affect driving ability. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety tracks these requirements by state, and your own state's Department of Motor Vehicles website is the most direct place to verify what applies where you live. Pause this now and write down 5 states: California, Nevada, New Jersey, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. Then search your state's Department of Motor Vehicles or Transportation website for physician reporting or medical reporting requirement. Most people understand HIPAA as a blanket protection for all medical information, and in most contexts that is correct. But HIPAA contains explicit statutory exceptions, one of which covers disclosures required by law. Mandatory physician reporting to a state Department of Motor Vehicles falls under that exception. A doctor in Pennsylvania reporting a diagnosis to the State Transportation Agency is not violating HIPAA. The disclosure is permitted and in some states required by state law. After a report is filed, the state agency sends a letter requesting medical documentation or a medical evaluation form, typically within 30 days. A suspension happens only if the driver fails to respond within that window, or if the evaluation concludes the condition prevents safe driving. A physician's report does not automatically remove your license. Not responding to the letter that follows is what can. 2 things. Search your state's Department of Motor Vehicles website for physician reporting or medical reporting requirement, and at your very next appointment, ask your doctor, does our state require you to report any of my current diagnoses to the Department of Motor Vehicles? 1 question, 30 seconds. If the answer is yes, you will not be Dorothy with a letter on the kitchen table and a deadline getting shorter every day. 5 things. Quickly. Number 5. The federal mandate is false. Driver licensing is controlled by individual states under the 10th Amendment. Number 4. Illinois raises the road test age from 79 to 87 effective July 1st, 2026, and now requires drivers 75 and older to renew in person. California eliminated the written knowledge test for drivers 70 and older with clean records, confirmed by the California Department of Motor Vehicles. Number 3. Real ID is required for domestic air travel. Gold or black star in the upper right corner means compliant. No star means schedule your Department of Motor Vehicles visit. Number 2. In at least 5 states, physicians are legally required to report specific medical conditions to the state agency. HIPAA does not prevent this. If a letter arrives requesting a medical evaluation, respond within 30 days or risk suspension by default. Number 1. Submit your AARP Smart Driver Completion Certificate to your insurer within 90 days. The discount is not automatic, and 40% of graduates never claim it. 3 things before you leave. 3. Go to your state's Department of Motor Vehicles website today and look up your age bracket's renewal requirements 5 minutes. 2. Look at your license right now. Top right corner. No star and you fly domestically means schedule the visit. This week, 1. At your very next appointment. Ask your doctor whether your state requires reporting of any of your current diagnoses to the Department of Motor Vehicles before any major decision about your driving status, your insurance, or your health documentation. Talk to a licensed professional who knows your state and your specific situation. If you have a parent, a sibling, or a close friend who drives themselves and lives in California, Nevada, New Jersey, Oregon, or Pennsylvania, share this video with them directly. Knowing this process exists is the difference between being prepared and being caught completely off guard. Next time, the conversation nobody wants to have, but every family with an aging driver eventually does the voluntary license surrender process. What state identification replacement options exist? And how to navigate that conversation without damaging the relationship. It is harder than any renewal, and it matters just as much. If you are in Illinois between ages 75 and 86, with a renewal coming up this summer, to go back to the 8-minute mark, the exact new rules for your age bracket are there, including the in-person requirement that most coverage of this law missed.